Hey guys, I'm going over your new assignment, which is going to be font research. That's going to lead us into logo design next week because you'll learn a little bit about the fonts and like what is behind them, basically. You're going to pick your own font for this. Usually I assign one, but I'm going to let you guys pick your fonts. I'm going to go over a few things with it. The biggest thing that you're going to see is the requirements. You pick a font of your choice, make sure it is in the Photopea program, and I'll show you where that is in a second. Google it and research it. I know Wikipedia isn't always the most reliable source, but in the past, I've come across that they have a lot of the different foundries, which is the word down here that I'm going to talk about in a second, and a lot of the different like designers and things like that. So they have a pretty vast like web of it. You're going to do 3 paragraphs, and I'll show you some examples. They have to have the foundry, the year created, the designer's name, the date released, and the classification. Those are the major things, and I'll show you where they are on the Wikipedia pages. Also including 2 to 3 interesting facts about the font, and for the most part, I want you focusing on the basic information. Make sure you have the title of the font and give it a background too. Okay, so let's look at some of these really quick. As you can see, Arial, they put it in an Arial typeface, and some of them are going to have more than just one. Like some of them will be like Arial Black, or Arial Italic, or Arial Cursive. It just depends. You can see the 3 paragraphs in the background. Same thing with Century Gothic. And if you can find an image, I know it's hard to sometimes find images of the font, find an image of the font and put it in there. Okay, so this was Century Gothic. And then Cooper Black, they even included in this one, put in a picture of the artist. Okay, and they made this one's very interesting just in the layout and the fact that the words stand out really nicely. And then this one's Garamond. Okay, so just by looking at them, you kind of can, get the gist of it. Okay, so going into Photopea, so say you're making a new file, and you can name this one font project if you want to. Make sure you check your inches and your size. I'm not really doing a whole thing on this. I'm just going to show you how to use the text box, that's all. So I'm on my text here. If you look up here, this is all your options. This is left side setup, right side setup, your color of your font if you want to change it, like so if I want to change it to red, your size, so like if I want to make it like 50 right now I could, and then your fonts. Now they all should have a preview on the side, and you can like pick one that you like. Just keep in mind some of the really like random ones, they may not have a lot of information on them. Try to stick, like Garamond is on here. Try to stick to something that maybe you've heard of before, because some of these you probably have heard of. Okay, so like Eraser, I know that one's pretty popular too. Let's see if I can find another one that we might know of. Let's see. I know the G's, there's always a good one in here. Gothic Ultra is one, so I'm going to click on that. Then I'm going to drag my text box, and then I can type in Gothic Ultra. Okay, Gothic is a pretty popular font. If I want to make it bigger, I highlight it, and then I double click up here. So maybe I want to make it 75. It makes it a little bit bigger. Now, if you're on your Gothic Ultra layer, you can also come up to layer and you can do the style and get the blending options again. So this can like bevel and emboss the words and make them stand out. I know it's kind of hard to see on here, but they popped a little bit more. You can add a stroke. So if I wanted to add a stroke, I could, and then make sure you're clicked on it, because then you can change the colors to say I wanted to do like a more maroon, make it stand out. You can do pattern overlays on there, play around with that. Okay, now for the font access. So this is the one reason, and probably the only time I like Wikipedia. If you look at this, there's a whole vast of information about serif typefaces. There's things called serif and sans serif, and if we were in the classroom, I would be going a lot more in depth on that. But basically, a serif is going to be, if you look at the way like this font is, they have these little attachments on the top and the bottom. Those are serif. So a sans serif is just going to be basically a letter that doesn't have anything on like attached. So the T would be flat on the top and on the bottom. Okay. Over here, you see the categories, the classifications, the designer names, the commission by foundry, because there's different type fonts basically. The date released, is it licensed, what was it based on? And this, I picked this one because it's got a lot of examples. And this also, like the design, it'll talk about where it came from. Like this came from newspaper printing, which makes sense because we see Times New Roman and everything. There's also more of a historical background. It gives you examples, and you can see other font names like Baskerville is a pretty popular font too. How they were used, metal type, because that was how they used to do that. Usage, the linotype releases, so and the way it's become modern. And he was one of the ones associated with creating it. There's also plenty of like references, and usually at the bottom, if you look down here, there's different, and I always utilize this for different things, the monotype typefaces, so it'll give you actual names of different face type, like typefaces. This has Mac OS on here even, so these are like fonts that you could see if you're using that computer. Microsoft Window typefaces, what ones you're going to see on those computer. There's a whole vast list of it, and that's why I like this website. Okay. So that's basically the gist of your font design project. Have fun with it. Reminder before I stop my video, don't forget to work on your Charles Demuth assignment and hand that in. That one is due this Wednesday. And then the current assignment that I haven't posted yet is going to be due this upcoming Friday. All right, guys, thanks. I'll see you later.